So today I want to talk about someone who just came out of absolutely nowhere in early October, came in here to Green Bay and just has become a star in the past month or so. But today I want to talk about Rasul Douglas and sort of how he rose from the depths of the practice squad to being, where he is today. So if we take a look back at his history, he grew up in New Jersey. He had 6 siblings. They were all raised by their grandma. Then he started going to Nassau Community College, where he redshirted his first year. And then he had 83 tackles and 5 interceptions in the 2013 and 2014 season. And then West Virginia was like, this guy looks pretty good. Let's bring him over to our team. So then he transfers there in 2015. And then in 2016, he was named the first team All Big 12 after he led the nation with 8 interceptions. So he was, getting some eyes on him. The NFL was starting to take notice. And so going into the NFL draft in 2017, after his final season in college, he was projected to be drafted somewhere between the 3rd round and the 5th round. And then he ended up being drafted by the Eagles in the 3rd round of the 2017 NFL draft out of West Virginia. So he had a pretty good start because, if you're being drafted in the 3rd round, you're doing pretty good. It's not the 1st round, but it's not the 7th round. So I feel like lots of 3rd round guys have, great careers. So then he comes in there into Philadelphia. And if we take a look here at his time in Philadelphia and then where he went next, the Carolina Panthers, as you can see, 2017 started 5 games, allowed an 83.7 passer rating. 2018 started in 7 games, allowed a 92.3 passer rating. Then 2019 started 6 games and they allowed a 101.3 passer rating. So he sort of declined in that year of 2019, which means the Eagles then let him go. Then coming in 2020, the Panthers decide to give him a shot. He starts in a good amount of games with them, starts in 11 games, but he did allow a 106.8 passer rating in that season with the Carolina Panthers. So not a great 2 years in 2019 and 2020. He then went on to sign with the Raiders in the offseason, but he was then released by the Raiders. They didn't think he had what it took. Then he spent a week with the Texans in August. They also released him, didn't think he had what it took. Then he went to the Arizona Cardinals, where he was on their practice squad for about 1 month before the Green Bay Packers decided to come in and sign him to their active roster, which now looking back was probably one of the best decisions the Packers made in the entire 2021 season. And the main reason the Packers did sign him is because first off, they lost Jair Alexander, their best cornerback, in early October, and they were dealing with lots of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. So they basically needed somebody to come in there. And honestly, when I first got news of the Packers signed Rasul Douglas, I didn't really know who he was, and considering he was on a practice squad beforehand, I was thinking to myself, okay, hopefully he plays well, but just considering he was just on a practice squad, chances are, he's not going to make that, that much of an impact. But boy, was I wrong. He comes in there. His first 2 games plays really well. With the Packers, only allowed 36 receiving yards. And then here comes the game where he comes in and really just makes his name, known once again around the NFL, coming in against his team, the team that he was just on the practice squad of, the Arizona Cardinals. So then in the final minutes of the game, the Cardinals are only being down 3. Kyler Murray, they're out to score. He throws it outside. Rasul Douglas comes in, interception, game over against his former team that just really didn't believe in him. And so then that's sort of when his name, I think, started to be a little bit more talked about. People were like, okay, who is this guy? He just made a, game-clinching interception. And since that point, he has been very consistent. And in the past 2 weeks, he's done something that hasn't been done in a very long time. He had a pick 6 versus Matthew Stafford and the Rams. And then in back-to-back weeks, once again, he has a pick 6 versus Justin Fields and the Bears. And just the fact that the Packers have, dealt with so many different kinds of injuries this season, the fact that they found a guy who wasn't wanted by 3 different teams, who comes in here and has now become, probably the Packers, best cornerback right now at this moment without Jair Alexander, and now probably one of the best cornerbacks right now in the NFL, with these 2 straight weeks of pick 6s. It's just crazy to see that teams passed by him. Teams didn't really think he had what it took, and then he came in here in the season, and these past few weeks has just been lights out for this Green Bay Packers team. Packers defensive coordinator Joe Barry was asked about Rasul Douglas and basically why he thinks he was able to come in here and do as well as he has done in Green Bay, and this is the quote from him. This is from Matt Schneidman of The Athletic. Joe Barry says, "I don't think it's an exact science, and I think it's timing. It's the right fit. It's a number of circumstances that go into a guy just falling into the right place at the right time," Packers defensive coordinator Joe Barry said. "And me being around Sewell, I can't believe that this guy hasn't landed a secure spot on a roster just because of not only the plays that he's made for us, but just witnessing him the way he approaches the game as a pro. There's been countless times where on Wednesday or Thursday nights, I go down to the cafeteria to get something to eat at 8 o'clock at night, and Rasul's sitting there at the table with his iPad studying film." So I think one of the reasons Rasul Douglas has been so successful here in Green Bay is just his work ethic, the amount of time he puts in, as multiple coaches have said, just how much time he spends, studying the film, grinding, learning everything he needs to learn. He's been able to put himself in a great position here in Green Bay because, he was looked over. He probably wasn't at a place in his career that he wanted to be in this offseason after being drafted in the 3rd round to then, being released by multiple teams. he was still willing to put in the work, put in the effort. So it is definitely going to be exciting to see, sort of where Rasul Douglas takes his career after this going forward. But he's come out of nowhere. He's been a beast. He's been, lights out for this Packers defense, and it's honestly an awesome story. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed and you enjoy this video, you enjoy NFL content, Packers content, feel free to subscribe to the channel and drop a like on the video if you guys did enjoy. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.